Yeah.
Go.
Okay, this is how we're going to begin making our piñatas today. First thing you need to do is take your newspaper and outline or cover up your desk. Very important that you do this every day so that your work area is always covered with the newspaper and you don't get glue or anything else on the desk. It makes for cleaning up faster. If you don't follow these procedures, this is one good reason for me to cancel the project and have you do it at home. So cleanup is very important. We're going to begin our piñata with our hanger. Okay, it has to be all wire, no cardboard here. What you do is you take hold of the hook and you pull on it. And you want to fold it in a manner that it comes together here. This is going to be the body of your piñata and you want it to be sturdy, so you can take some masking tape and wrap some around the hanger to keep this together. Just a couple of times. You have it. Now the hook end of the hanger, you need to get some newspaper and you need to make some wads of newspaper. Wad up the paper. One sheet at a time. Like this. And you wrap this around the hook. This wad of paper is going to hold the hanger inside your piñata. Now if you're going to make a small piñata, then you might want to bend the hanger halfway. I'm using a long hanger like this because my piñata is a large piñata. Okay, if you're making something small, then you don't need this length. You just fold the hanger down and still make a wad at the bottom. Okay. Once you have this done, set it aside and spread out some more sheets of newspaper and decide what the shape of your piñata is going to be. If you're making a big body, then you're going to make the torso first. You're making a circle or a ball as the body. Then what you need to do is take a marker and make an outline of your piñata. Okay? I'm going to make a frog. Okay? So my frog's body has like an egg shape. So I'm going to take a marker and give myself the idea of an egg right here. Nobody's perfect, okay? So this doesn't have to be perfect. Now, get some more newspaper. You make wads of newspaper and start filling in the center of your outline. It's important that you unfold the newspaper and then wad it. Don't take more than one sheet at a time because it's just going to make uncontrollable wads that you cannot shape later on when you're working at perfecting the form of your piñata. So, one sheet of paper at a time, make a wad, fill in the middle here.
Go inside.
I want to see.
So you make enough wads. Okay, so you make enough wads to fill up the form that you drew on the paper. You take your hanger and you place it somewhere in the middle. Now you're only going to let about 2 inches come out of the piñata. And you want to make sure that the wads of paper are tied around here so that they keep this hanger from coming out. keep all your wads in place. You can use some masking tape to keep your wads of paper within the form you want. Just tape it right there at the edge of the outlines. Can you see the outlines? Right there you place the tape, and then you can just kind of tape over it loosely. That keeps the wadded paper inside the form. Once you do that, you're going to wrap more newspaper around this as though this were a gift. And you use your masking tape. So you might want to cut out strips of masking tape to be able to work with this quicker. You can take the edge of that sheet and start taping it, keeping the shape that you began with. Like this. And you keep going around, covering up the wads of paper. And at first it doesn't look like a piñata, but as we work with it, we're going to give it the shape we want. Don't be afraid to tear the paper. You can turn it around and wrap it again. It's easier this time because you don't have the wads now. You're just wrapping it around like a gift. You start wrapping it. Now, I told you it was like an egg. This is the body of my frog. But say that I think it's a little hollow right here. Then I'll just take some more newspaper, make a water paper, get some masking tape, place the water paper where I think it needs more shape, and then tape it there. That's okay that the water paper is on the outside, because after I finish giving it more shape, I'm going to wrap it like a gift again. See? Maybe I need to add a wad on this side to give it more uniformity. Well, I just get more paper. Make another wad. A little bit larger than the other one. I can kind of figure out how big it has to be. Put it right there. And then just tape it. And that's how you're going to give the shape to your piñata, whatever it is you're going to make. Once I have the shape, then I just wrap it again to cover up the wads of paper that I use. Wrap it around. Doesn't have to be perfect right now. You're just trying to get the shape that you want. Okay. Now, my frog is going to have 2 eyes right here. So, how do I put the eyes? And it's going to have some legs right here. In order to do that, I need to work with a newspaper. Maybe his legs need to be a little bit like a tube. Then I just take some newspaper, make wads in the middle of it. And then I'll wrap them like a limb, like a leg. See, like a taco, like this. Maybe take some more to make it a little bit firmer so it doesn't pull apart. Like this. Use my tape. Tape it around. Keep it together. Now how do I put this on my frog? Okay. You have to take one side of the leg and you need to cut flaps like this. Nice big flaps that you can fold back like this. Like this. You can now put these on the frog. Let me see. My frog leg is going to be right here. So again, I take my tape and I tape them on. You need to cut strips of tape so that you can work with this before. Okay. I'm going to tape it right there. Just take it, tape it. You can add some glue to this to make it sturdier. Okay. So just tape it into place. Okay. I want his leg right here. I'm going to want it to kind of go like this. So then you bend the leg however you want it. You know, it's got to make this little bump right there. And your foot right there. Once I have it where I want it, tape it to the body. Again, remember where it was. doesn't look like a frog yet, but he will be. Give him time. And you just keep working with your piñata like this, adding things to it to give the shape, taping them with the masking tape. That's what you need to do today. Okay, once you finish with that, and you have the shape of your piñata, we'll go to step 2. And then I'll explain that to you in our next class session. Okay, this is day 2 and step 2 of our piñata. Once you finish forming your piñata, as you can see, my frog has evolved. Once you have it like this, the next step is for you to form an outer shell on the piñata, and you do that by using your newspaper. So you take some folded pages like this, and you cut strips. The strips have to be about 1 inch wide. The first thing you do is cut yourself lots of strips. And this is the part that's something like paper mache. Except in a traditional piñata, you would use flour and water. Just mix flour and water together. Cut the strips of newspaper, and you would soak them in this flour and water mixture. It would have to be more water than flour. And then you would start taping it or putting it up around the piñata I referred to, where you cover all the masking tape. At school, we cannot use flour and water because we would clog up the bathroom sinks. We wouldn't have a place to wash our hands, and we can no longer use that method at school. If you're at home and want to try it, it's fun. But at school, we're going to use glue. Lots of glue. Okay. So you can use some of it. Remember to line your desk with newspaper. This is very important, even more so today, because you're going to be using glue. And if you get glue all over the desks, you're going to have to wash them. So you don't want to wash desks, do you? Okay. So get some paper. Place it over your desk, your working area, and then you take the glue. Here you have to be generous with your glue, because the idea is that you're soaking these in glue and then you're putting them on the piñata like this everywhere. Okay, so notice how it's a long strip. You want to cut it in half. And I'm just going to pour glue here. Okay, and what you do is you just take the paper and kind of slide it through the glue like that. Okay, and start covering the piñata. And you're going to do this. If you use smaller strips of paper, you have more control over what you're going to be covering. Okay, notice how the glue is already dripping. No, you don't notice? We can have our camera technician here do a close-up on our dripping glue. Right here. So you're generous with the glue. Don't be stingy with it. The more glue the better, because that's the glue and the paper are going to form an outer shell all around your piñata. You have to cover the entire piñata with this process. You have to cover it 3 times. 3 times. And then you have to let it dry. Once you let it dry, we'll be starting step 3. Okay. So, everywhere. Start covering it up. When you finish this process, I shouldn't see any more masking tape anywhere. One more time. It's very important that you do not get any glue on the desk, nor the floor, nor your clothes. Okay. Just press it down. Remember, you're going to put 3 layers, so right now if you don't cover exactly everything, that's okay. Again, the shorter the strip of paper, the more control you have when you're placing it on the piñata. Okay, I want the eye to be covered real. Oh, by the way, these are the eyes. Remember I told you I was going to put eyes on it? One direction, and the next time, for the next layer that I do on this frog, instead of going like this, I'm going to crisscross this way. Give it more resistance. I would go like this in the second layer. And just press it into place. It's a good idea that you cover the whole piñata first with the first layer and then begin the second layer. By the time you finish the first layer, the part where you begin should be dry enough for you to put the next layer on top. Okay. So step 2 of our piñata is to cover it completely with strips of newspaper, plenty of glue, all the way around, on the bottom, underneath the feet, everywhere. So when I see your piñata, I'm going to lift it and turn it all around to check and see if you've covered all the masking tape it has. Now, it's also very important to know that your piñata must be completely formed before you begin doing the process of covering it with paper and tape. And glue, not tape, glue. Okay? Yeah? Good morning. This is step 3 of our piñata. Here's where we decorate it with a fun, pretty colors. Remember, your piñata needs to have at least 3 colors. My frog is all green, but I'm going to change some color on it in the eyes maybe, or in the feet. I'm not sure yet where to add my other 2 colors, but I'm going to begin with my green. What you do is you take your tissue paper, spread it out, 1 sheet at a time. I know you're going to think this takes too long and you're going to want to do more than 1 at a time, but if you do more than 1 at a time, it's not going to come out neat, and I will know. What you do is you start folding the paper like this, and you cut out folded strips. Okay, like this. Now you have to make sure it's as even as possible. You're gonna cut, excuse me, you're gonna cut from here about towards the middle, no more than that, okay? And as thin as possible, you're gonna cut the little strips like this, little flares. Now as you practice this, you get quicker, okay? But make sure you don't go all the way through. You might want to do this first. Make yourself a few of these, or you can do it at a time. Can we hear all that noise outside? All the way through, you make little flares like that, as even as possible, okay? One strip at a time. Don't get lazy. Don't try to shortcut. It'll be very obvious in how your piñata looks. And looks are important for your grade, okay? Remember, I'm grading you on technique. Are you following my instructions? Are you doing the process the way I asked you to? step is to curl them. You take the scissors, open them up like this. Be careful, don't cut yourselves, okay? And you just apply pressure. You probably learned how to curl paper before, right? So that's what you're doing. You're curling the little strips like this all the way through. You don't have to get exactly every single one of them. And the back ones usually do not curl as much as the front ones, because you remember you've got 2 layers of these on here. Okay, the idea is that you can do this without tearing the paper. See how they curl? Okay, now to put them on the piñata, you have to begin at the bottom. You've got to go from the bottom up. Okay, don't worry about the feet area yet. You're just doing from right here. We're going to start and then go up this way. Again, like with the strips of newspaper, it's easier to go with small strips on this one too. So you can kind of measure what you're doing here and then just tear it right there. Apply the glue. Remember, I told you the curlies go to the front. So apply the glue on the back end. Right there. And start at the bottom of the piñata. Right there. Okay. And the next one will go on top of that, the solid part, okay? So it's gonna, the flares will cover the solid part from the previous one. Again, measure it. Apply some glue. Remind you again to cover up your desk, please, with newspaper so that they don't get full of glue. I've already seen some of the desks with glue. We're going to have a fun time cleaning them. Again, measure it first. And cut it. And apply the glue.